Okay, guys, there's actually a way for you to know if you found all your zeros or not. And this is called the fundamental theorem of algebra. Basically, what it says is the number of zeros a polynomial has can be determined by looking at the degree of the polynomial. So that means that you look at the biggest exponent, and that's going to tell you how many zeros this polynomial has. So if you're trying to find how many zeros does this function have, f of x equals x to the fourth plus 6x cubed plus 12x squared plus 8x. What is the biggest exponent? So what is the degree of this polynomial? The biggest exponent is 4. That because of this function, this f of x, has 4 zeros. Because the highest degree, the biggest exponent, is 4. That's all you need to look at. So if you look at the next one, another example, how many solutions? So again, solution can also be zeros. How many solutions does the equation x cubed plus 3x squared plus 16x plus 48 equals 0 have? And how can you tell? Well, what's the biggest exponent? The biggest exponent is 3. So this equation has 3 solutions. Because the biggest exponent is 3. As straightforward as that. So we're going to take a look at an example where it asks you to find all the zeros. Notice that it doesn't say all real zeros. So there might be a chance that there's some imaginary numbers in this. So let's take a look. This has the biggest exponent is 5. So that means that there would be 5 zeros that we're looking for. Okay, so the first thing I look at, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 terms. We have not done any factoring with 5 terms. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to graph this equation in my calculator to help me find one of those zeros. So here's my calculator. Let me graph that equation. X to the 5th. So let's go to New Document. Add a graph. Let's see now. We got x to the 5th power plus x to the 3rd minus 2x squared minus 12x minus 8. Okay, this is my graph. But if you take a look, there is a point right there, and there is a point right there. Those are my 2 zeros. I can choose any one of those zeros that I want to find. So I'm going to go to Menu, Analyze Graph, find my zeros. So number 1, highlight it. Let's do this one. Click on this, highlight it. It looks like that one says -1, 0. So I know that one of the 0 is x equals to -1. You can also keep going. Let me move this number down. You can also keep going and find the other zeros too. That might make it a little easier on you. So highlight the zeros that you want to find. That looks like it's 2, 0. So I know that x is equal to 2. There are a couple of the things that you can do at this point. Notice that there's 5 zeros, supposed to be 5 zeros, but right now I only have 2. The calculator only showed 2. So I'm going to start dividing 1 factor at a time. this factor is going to be x plus 1. I'm going to divide that into x to the 5th plus 0x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 2x squared minus 12x minus 8. I'm going to divide all of that. So that's going to give me x to the 4th. That's going to give me x to the 5th plus x to the 4th. Subtract. That's going to give me negative 1x to the 4th plus x cubed. Let's need x to the negative x cubed up here. Negative x to the 4th minus x cubed. Subtract again. That's cancel. That's going to give me 2x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2x squared. That's going to give me 2x cubed plus 2x squared. Subtract them. That's going to give me negative 4x squared. Bring down minus 12x. That's going to give me negative 4. Negative 4x squared minus 4x. Subtract. That's going to give me negative 8x minus 8. Put a negative 8. That's going to give me negative 8x, negative 8. So there, I have just factored it out to this. Now notice that this is from dividing from the first factor. Now I'm going to take the answer and divide by the second factor. My second factor is going to be x minus 2. This time, let's see if I can save some space. I'm going to use the array method. I know that I'm dividing by x minus 2. Let's see if I can write it small. I know that the first term is x to the 4th power. So that means x cubed goes up here. Negative 2x cubed. These add up to be negative 1x cubed. So I would have positive x cubed here to add up to equals to negative 1x cubed over here. So that's going to give me x squared. Negative 2x squared. Negative 2x squared plus something has to add up to positive 2x squared. So that's going to give me positive 4x squared. So that's going to give me 4x. 4x times negative 2 is negative 8x. Negative 8x, oops, this is supposed to have an x on there. Negative 8x plus something equals to negative 4x. So that's going to be a positive 4x. That's going to give me another positive 4. And that's going to give me negative 8. And negative 8 plus something is equal to negative 8. That gives me a remainder of 0. Great. So now I have x cubed plus x squared plus 4x plus 4. All right. Now it's more manageable because now I can look at 4 terms. With 4 terms, I can do it factor by grouping. So that's going to give me x squared on the outside. Leaves me with x plus 1 plus 4 on the outside. Leaves me with and then x plus 1. This is perfect because now if I look at these 2 terms, I have a common factor, which is x plus 1. Pull that out. X plus 1 times x squared plus 4. Now remember, I'm trying to solve it. So I'm going to make it equal to 0. And that means that this, x plus 1 equals to 0, x equals to negative 1. So I have another zeros. This next one, a little trickier. If you have x squared plus 4 equals to 0, when you're solving it, that means I have x squared equals to negative 4. That means I have to take the square root on both sides. That means I'm going to have x equals to plus or minus, because there's a negative on the inside of a square root. I know it's an imaginary number, and the square root of 4 is 2. So I can actually write it as plus or minus 2i. There, is my other two solution, another two zeros. So I have x equals to -1, x equals to plus or minus 2i. And if I go all the way back, I also have x equals to -1 again on the first one, and x equals to 2. So all in all, I have 5 solutions. You got 1, 2, these two are from the calculator, and then 3, 4, 5. These last 3 are all of the division that we were doing. And you have found all of the zeros, all of the solutions for that polynomial.